All right, and we are live, folks. What's going on? I apologize for the hiatus. I was sick. I have a slight cough still, but I will manage now. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, good holidays. Before we begin, you know how this works. If you've been here before, I'll let the people know that we are live real quick, and we shall begin. If you have any questions, of course, ask. And if you're watching the recording and want me to answer your questions in depth, make sure to ask in the comment section below or in my Discord. You can join my Discord in the description below. And you guys could ask questions pre-live stream, and I go more in depth on those because I prepare beforehand. So, all right. So before we begin, I just want to let you guys know I have a Twitch. I don't think most of you guys know that, but I do. So make sure to follow that. I do live reactions to manga there mostly. Done a debate Discord, like I said. And think about becoming a member because you do get access to a private Discord that's separate from this one and member-only videos. So think about doing that, folks. And make sure to hit the like button if you enjoy this, the sub button if you're new. Any support's greatly appreciated, of course. What's going on, Dragon Draikage? Thanks for coming in. All right, so first pre-stream question that was asked is a quite intriguing one. This is EMS Madara versus Prime Nagato. All right, so this is what I have for this. So this particular matchup is quite intriguing due to the specific parameters that would present themselves in this one, right? So EMS Madara would have no knowledge of the Rinnegan, right? He didn't have any knowledge of it when he fought Hashirama in the Valley of the End, so that's important. And a Prime Nagato would more than likely be stronger than the Path of Pain were against Konoha to some arbitrary degree. Now the best way to scale Prime Nagato is admittedly to look at his performance as Edo Nagato, right? He is slightly nerfed, but that's the best way to scale him or get an idea at least. He nearly successfully soloed both KCM1 Naruto and Killer Bee, but failed to react to Edo Itachi on multiple occasions. Alright, so we gotta keep that into consideration. So we could pretty much safely deduce that Edo Itachi is faster than Edo Nagato to some arbitrary degree. So Edo Itachi scales somewhere around the level of Sage Mode Kabuto, right? Considering they were both holding back for their own respective reasons, right? Sage Mode Kabuto didn't want to kill Sasuke, and obviously Itachi couldn't kill Kabuto because he wouldn't be able to undo the reanimation jutsu. So they were both holding back, which allows it to imply some arbitrary degree of relativity, of course. Continuing on, Sage Mode Kabuto, right? More than likely scales below White Mask Obito, considering Obito did not consider Kabuto a real threat until Kabuto revealed Edo Madara. So even when he revealed the Akatsuki, he wasn't really threatened by that either. He's like, with my Rinnegan, I can handle the Akatsuki. As soon as he saw Edo Madara, he started sweating. Some people would counter me and say, well, it's because he has an appeal to emotion to Madara, right? But I would say, at this point, Obito was pretty removed from his emotions, at least until he saw Naruto when they fought. So I would say he did look at Edo Madara as a threat, definitely didn't look at Kabuto as a threat. In fact, Kabuto admitted inferiority to Obito. So continuing on. So from all this empirical evidence, which I just presented, we can extrapolate and rationally deduce that Edo Madara scales above Prime Nagato, right? With all this empirical evidence, and we putting the pieces together. But however, I'll say this admittedly. When assessing this matchup, it's not quite as simple as saying Madara wins because he scales above Nagato, because Nagato has hacks, right? He has hacks abilities with his Rinnegan. Prime Nagato's hacks would present a problem to EMS Madara in the right scenario, right? There is a possibility. So this is what I would say. For example, if Nagato were to immediately execute Chibaku Tensei before Madara could, summon the Perfect Susanoo or the Ninetales, there's a good chance he wouldn't get out, unless he has some ninjutsu that has an AP sufficient in destroying the epicenter of a Chibaku Tensei. Then maybe it's possible at that point. But however, you could counter that point and say, well, due to Madara's superiority scaling-wise, his AP and speed would just be too overwhelming for Nagato despite his hacks. You can make an argument that he's so much faster than Nagato, the Nagato wouldn't even be able to fire his synapse in time to even attack Madara. There's an argument for that due to the large gap. There's a large gap in power scaling between those two. and you can put some pieces together like the pieces I just presented to come to that conclusion. So from my lens, I would claim that Madara's significantly superior speed and AP, like I said, would simply overwhelm Nagato. Not to mention, he does have access to the Nine Tails and his Perfect Susanoo. One slash of this Perfect Susanoo sword, that destroys Chibaku Tensei. I mean, he fucking slices mountains with one slice, so I doubt he'd have a problem destroying the Chibaku Tensei. So hence my conclusion would be Madara wins 8 to 9 times out of 10, with low to possibly mid difficulty if the speed is relative enough, which I doubt. So that would be my take on Madara versus Nagato. I could see the appeal, right? Because Nagato has a Rinnegan, Madara doesn't, but there's more to it. There's still a gap between the two. What's going on, Luis? Thanks for coming in. Make sure to hit the like button, folks, by the way, if you haven't already. Gets us up in the algorithm, gets more eyeballs on us. It's really appreciated. What would be your favorite 5 Kage matchup? Think like Madara versus 5 Kage. Mine is a Sori versus a 5 Kage, and another is Orochimaru versus the 5 Kage. I mean, Madara versus the 5 Kage was not fair, right? So Sori versus the 5 Kage, I think he would have problems with, if we're talking about the 4th Ninja War era Kage, he'd have trouble with the Red Kage's speed. Orochimaru versus the 5 Kage, I think he'd have trouble as well. Unless we're talking about Orochimaru who has access to Edos. I mean, maybe then. A good matchup would maybe be like a Top Akatsuki member versus the Kage. That would be like a pretty relative matchup. Maybe Obito versus the 5 Kage. Or Pain, Prime Nagato versus the 5 Kage. That would be interesting. It wouldn't be in my opinion, it wouldn't be a simple wash on either side. So, did you notice the giant flaw in Vader versus Obito? I haven't seen that yet, but I do want to check it out. I do want to check that one out. I did see 6 posted that. Alright, continuing on. By the way, folks, any donations are greatly appreciated. And if you ask a question with a donation, then I answer that first. So I'll stop what I'm doing and answer your question first. Or if you're a member. Let's see here. Did you check out my... Yeah, I answered most of them. After the anime section, I'll probably be answering most of your questions. Unless you donate, then I'll answer now. So, alright, so the next one was interesting. This is a cross-verse matchup. Mifune versus Samurai Jack. So, admittedly, I haven't seen Samurai Jack since I was a kid. But this is what I would say, from what I do remember. From what I recall of Samurai Jack, he never really scaled very high, at least in comparison to the upper echelon characters in Naruto. I would say that. So, I would rationally deduce that someone in Mifune's caliber, who is relative to Hanzo, most likely defeats Samurai Jack. If you scale Samurai Jack, he's around maybe small building level, around there or so. Small. I think that with, what's it called? He has a certain kind of power. With ancestral powers, he might scale higher, and it might make it more interesting. Right, the same powers that he was able to defeat the Ultra Robot with. It's a possibility he could give Mifune some problems. So, I would say Mifune most likely, unless Samurai Jack does have the ancestral powers, then maybe it'd get more interesting. So simply put, that's what I would say. The same person also asked Mifune versus Sakumo. Now this is very ambiguous, but this is what I would simply say. Mifune scales around Hanzo, right, who seem to be of higher esteem within the shinobi world. We hear more about Hanzo than we do about Sakumo. Again, that's not a very concrete foundation for a premise, but it's one of the only ones that you can muster up due to ambiguity. So I would say Mifune probably scales above Sakumo, more than likely. And this is the kind of the best claim you can come up with based off the inevitable ambiguity of this matchup. So, what's going on, Phantom Redbeard? Glad to see you back. Appreciate it. Back once again. Had to get back to it. Alright, folks. So, yeah. Mifune beats Samurai Jack more than likely. Unless Jack has the ancestral powers, maybe it's different. And then Mifune most likely beats Sakumo. Alright, so next up we have someone asked top 5 Kenjutsu users in all Naruto. So basically people who use swords. I would have to have Sasuke number 1, if we're taking into account Boruto era, of course. If we're talking about the specific Sasuke that did use swords, he wouldn't be the strongest, right? He got mollywopped by fucking Killer Bee back in the day when he was in Taka. So, if we are talking about the specific versions when they have swords, I would probably say maybe Kisame would be the top with a sword. Right? If we're talking about Boruto era, then it would be Sasuke, Darui, and Chonchuro. They all have swords. So they'd definitely be stronger than anybody else in Naruto, in the Naruto verse, right? That has a sword. Killer Bee and Kisame would be on the list as well. So yeah, that'll probably be my list. Let's see, if there's an anti-Akatsuki team, who would be on it? It has to be from right when we get into part 2. So at the beginning of Shippuden. Shit, I mean, there's not many guys that can compete with them at this point that we're familiar with. Might Guy with the 8 gates, he's a problem for anyone that's not a 6-pass tier character. Kakashi, he would do all right against the low to mid tier characters. He would get washed by the top tier at this point. His MS isn't being used very oftenly quite yet. You know, he still has stamina issues at the beginning of part 2. Who else would be out there? Kakashi, Might Guy, Tsunade, I guess. Basically all the Kage. That would be your best bet. Naruto's not anywhere near close enough in power to compete with the top guys, at least not under his own will. It would be the Nine Tails, right? And that would be dangerous. Probably all the Kage along with Might Guy and Kakashi. That's probably the best team you can come up with at that point in time. If you're talking about, you know, the protagonists. If we're talking about antagonists, you can bring in Orochimaru, you can bring in Sasuke. But yeah, there isn't very many people that can challenge the Akatsuki at that point, to be quite honest. Alright, so another question that was interesting was, what if Kakashi was a full-blooded Uchiha? Alright, so this is what I would say about that. If we presuppose Kakashi is still a prodigy, and also a full-blooded Uchiha on top of that, then that would be a formula for one of the strongest Uchiha of all time. I think he'd be up there with like Itachi and Obito later on, and people like that. I would also say a mystery would be what his exact unique Mangekyo Sharingan ability would be. It wouldn't be the Kamui, right? Because Kamui isn't his. That's Obito. So if Kakashi had his own, if he had his own pair of Sharingans, he would have his own unique ability more than likely, right? All these Uchihas seem to have their own unique ability, right? Sasuke, Itachi with his Tsukuyomi, Obito with his Kamui. So Kakashi would have his own as well. We can imagine what that would be. Now, as far as the storyline itself, I would predict that Kakashi and Obito's dynamic would actually be different. If anything, there'd be a better chance that they're friends, right? Because they're full-blooded Uchiha. They grow up together. So, if anything, they'd be friends, more than likely. There wouldn't be this heated rivalry between them, because they're of similar lineage. They grow up together since, you know, their birth and things like that. And I would also say that Obito probably never would have been perceived as dead, because if Kakashi has his eyes, right, we have him helping against the Stone Ninja. Together, they'd probably be more than enough to get Rin back when she gets kidnapped. If they both have Sharingans, I mean, it's a wash, you know. So a lot of things would change, and the storyline would be much, much different. The Uchiha Massacre might not ever happen, things like that. So, all right, see if you guys ask any questions. Sasori over Pain? I don't know about that. Pain speed are more comparable to Sage Naruto and Jiraiya, whom is superior to Kakashi. Goes to his projectiles that moved alongside Laser Circus as in Edo. During the war arc, there are a lot of inconvenient inconsistencies, like Kimimaru and stuff like that. So, keep in mind, Sakura was reacting to Sasori when her and Chio were battling him. Yeah, he wasn't going all out, but she was successfully reacting to him. So his speed, I doubt, is above that of Pain's. That was a well thought out battle. That wasn't just a single event in the war arc like Kimimaru against KCM Naruto. There's more of a template to go based off of to assess his speed. Pizza or burgers? Probably pizza. How was your Thanksgiving? It was alright. A lot of turkey, of course. Why do you always wear glasses? Actually, it's because I have a bright light. I need to change to an LED bulb because this light is so bright that I'll get headaches, low key. But I need to buy a ring light, so then I won't need the glasses. Alright, let me read these. Unless someone donates, again, all donations are really appreciated. I'll keep answering these, and I'll answer your guys's. But if you donate, I'll answer right away. So, and then we also we have to discuss Boruto's new chapter after as well. That's extremely telling chapter that I recently read. So, All right, so someone asked, if Team 7 was accompanied by Hinata, would her gentle fist or presence make any difference in the outcome of when they found Sasuke during earlier Shippuden? No, it wouldn't. Unfortunately, her presence would be trivial since she is greatly inferior to Sasuke and probably greatly inferior to everyone else on Team 7. You know, there is no implication that she's even remotely close to the level of Sasuke at the beginning of Shippuden. So, narratively, you could even argue that she'd be a liability, because if Sasuke attacks Naruto, Hinata is instinctually going to defend him, similar to how she did against Pain, and she's going to get herself killed. Or someone's going to sacrifice themselves to protect her, like Naruto. So, if anything, she'd be a liability if she tried to help retrieve Sasuke. So, honestly, she would be. Could Prime Itachi beat Pain? I think so. I think it'd be very close, but I do think so. Alright, so now I'll answer one of these again. Alright, so this is a Dragon Ball question. If the Omni King wasn't summoned during the Black Arc, would his soul have taken over the DBZ multiverse? I'm assuming they mean the antagonist of the arc. If it leaked into more of the original timeline, would Beerus get involved as well? So this is what I see with Dragon Ball. Right? When there is threats that are perceived to be too much for the Z fighters, right? It seems there's always like some sort of divine intervention. We see it with Whis being able to rewind time, Beerus intervening, things of that nature. So there would be some sort of divine intervention if, you know, the Z fighters were unable to overcome their villain, right? So that's most likely what I think it takes, and that usually takes place when there is an extreme situation like that. So it might be Beerus, it might have been Whis reversing time. There would be some divine intervention for sure. Kakashi's special Sharingan ability would be a Genjutsu that gives you the 1,000 years of death. Nice. That would be a good one, and a creative one too. Let's see. Sage Mode Naruto is outpacing one of the fastest Edos. Yes. Alright. Keep asking questions, folks. If you have any and all questions. Alright, someone asked, if Kimimaro was a perfect host for Orochimaru and not sick, would he still try to go after Itachi or follow through with whatever plan he had at the time? I would most definitely say that he would at least need to become stronger before facing Itachi. There's a large gap between those two. There's a large gap, as evident by him getting fodderized by 14-year-old Itachi. Itachi didn't have to look at him, he fodderized him. So there's still going to be a large gap, and that's if we presuppose that Kimimaro's potential is that high. There's no way to prove whether it is or isn't, but if it is, it wouldn't be right away. I doubt Orochimaru would go straight after Itachi after entering Kimimaru's body as a host. I doubt it. However, I would say, from my subjective lens, it's unlikely that he would ever reach Itachi's level. I think with Sasuke's body, he would have, not with Kimimaru's. Not to say Kimimaru's weak, but we're talking about Itachi here. He's at the top of the totem pole until the war arc, at least. So that's what I would say. A good Naruto would be if Hashirama kept all the tailed beasts. I would think he would, alongside Tobirama, make a system where 7 people from the biggest clans would get a beast. That's a good idea. We can talk about the Boruto manga, though. Yeah, we will. Definitely will. A couple more of these, and I definitely got to discuss the newest chapter. It's extremely telling. By the way, folks, make sure to hit the like button once again. It gets us up in the algorithm. Wait, let me make sure this is playing. I'll try to play the soundboard. There you go. Let me see if you guys can hear it real quick. There you go. All right, cool. Just making sure. Yeah, make sure to hit that like button, folks. All right, let's continue on. All right, what if Naruto never found his ninja way? Well, it'd be pretty simple. He would go rogue and either be captured by Konoha and imprisoned, or he would be captured by the Akatsuki and killed once they extracted Nine Tails from him. So it'd be a horrible ending if he never had his ninja way. It'd be pretty simple. All right. So this is my last pre-live stream question. Anime-wise, I should say. What if Sasuke killed Naruto in their first fight? All right, so a lot of things would change. This is what I would say. So first of all, the search and retrieval of Sasuke more than likely wouldn't have been as prioritized to Konoha since Naruto is no longer around. Right, the whole plan was just to let Sasuke go rogue and take care of him later. But Naruto changed that narrative because he said, I have to find him and bring him back. That would never take place, obviously, because Sasuke killed him. Orochimaru would still die by Sasuke's hand because Sasuke came to that conclusion himself without any outside intervention or influence. So I I would claim he would still kill Orochimaru the same way once he's sick enough, that is. And then I would say he still forms Taka. He still goes after Itachi. And he probably would still get his eyes as well. Alright, continuing on. As far as the Fourth Great Ninja War, the Shinobi Alliance would fall. They would fall at the hands of Madara and Obito. So, and the reason is there is no Naruto. There is no Naruto to aid this alliance the way he did, right? He's not going to give everyone Nine Tails chakra. What's going on, Sean? Thanks for coming in. Long, but just wanted to say appreciate it, brother. Yeah, back to it. Back to it indeed. But like I was saying, the Fourth Great Ninja War would be a loss. Without Naruto, they're not winning, right? Without the Nine Tails aid, they're not going to win. Even if Sasuke did aid them, he won't be enough in dealing with Jubidara or dealing with Jubito. He won't be enough on his own. They were barely able to handle them with Naruto and Sasuke, let alone just Sasuke. They're going to fail. And then Madara is essentially going to win until he gets backstabbed by Black Zetsu. And essentially, the Shinobi world would cease to exist. That's what would happen. It would cease to exist, and simply put, Kage would just roam the earth and do whatever her plan originally was, or whatever. So, it would be a bad ending. It would be a very bad ending if Naruto died. He was the chosen one, right? So, alright, so let's answer some of your questions here. Sure, this question in a minute. But do you think during the Pain arc that guy was written to be away from the village because he would have taken Pain out? Yeah, that's a good implication to make, because he would have taken Pain out. He would have just went to the 8th gate and killed him. So, yeah, that's a big reason why he wasn't there. Him or Rock Lee, for that matter. They had to avoid that situation taking place. So, let's see. Yeah, because Guy, he has strong will. He's willing to give his life up. So, if anything, he would have sacrificed himself to destroy Pain, which he would have done with the 8th gate for sure. Alright, so let's talk about chapter 75. The chapter was very telling. We learned about the abilities more in depth, right, when it comes to Ida and when it comes to Damon. Very telling chapter. We learned about, finally, the revealed Otsutsuki god. If I'm not mistaken, I think his name was Shimbu or something like that. We learned the father of all jutsu is not ninjutsu or genjutsu or taijutsu. It's called shinjutsu. That's the father of all jutsu, and it's a superior jutsu. Apparently, that all the jutsus pale in comparison to it, right? It doesn't even require hand seals. You can do some pretty powerful abilities by just simply whatever they do exactly. Think it or whatever the case may be. They don't even need to weave hand signs to use it, right? And that's what the Otsutsuki god was known for, having all these abilities, and that the cyborg's abilities originate from the Otsutsuki god himself, right? So that's why Ida technically has global scale omnipresence damn near, right? She knows what happened in the past. She can read your mind. She can hear and read anything on any location in the planet. So she's technically omnipresent. Damon can reflect your intention intrinsically or extrinsically if he feels like it. We saw that in the new chapter when Kawaki was, I believe, he had an intention of clobbering Damon, and instead Damon causes that intention to kind of reflect on him, and he gets clobbered. So Damon's very dangerous as well. Very dangerous. So these cyborgs have godlike abilities because they literally come from God, and that makes sense, right? And then we learn more of Amato as well. We learned that Amato had his own intentions. We learned that he had a daughter, and that daughter was rebuilt as Delta, and that Delta's a failed experiment because she's not the daughter that he used to have. And he basically goes in on this tangent about him being unable to replicate or synthetically engineer a soul. Right, so he's able to give her the memories, the look, the aesthetics, but he can't bring her personality back or her soul, so to speak. So he talks about the soul being beyond that of human ability, right? It's in the domain of gods. You can't replicate a soul. And the reason he worked with Jigen is because Jigen promised he would bring his daughter back for real. So we finally have some motives for Amato, right? It was a mystery for a long time. And Amato's so far, I think, a very well-written character, to be quite honest. He's one of the highlights of Boruto, no doubt about it. So, The chapter was very telling. It was the best chapter I've read since Bearing Out about Naruto, to be quite honest. So if you guys haven't read it, check it out. Or see my reaction to it. I posted it a few days ago. It's a good chapter. Very good. Imagine Obito went with Pain to the leading leaf, even if Guy was there. Guy with the 8 gates solos them both, though, to be quite honest. He's just superior. He's way too powerful. The only people that can deal with him are 6 pass tier characters, like a Jubidara. How does the end of the series Shinobi Alliance perform in the Ninja War starting from 6 pass Madara? No Sharingan Kakashi, crippled Guy, one arm Sasuke. Alright, so you're saying without the powerhouses, they get soloed. Jubidara solo all of them. If there's no Naruto or Sasuke or Kakashi without a Sharingan, with a Sharingan, none of those are present, they all get soloed. By just Madara himself. Even with an eye or two, he'd destroy them. You need the big dogs to take charge. That's the only reason they won. So the gap is so gargantuan that the whole entire Shinobi Alliance could be healthy and ready. But if they don't have Naruto and Sasuke, they're not going to win. They would get fodderized pretty quickly, actually. All right, folks. Any questions you may have, feel free to ask. Donation questions are prioritized, if you guys didn't know. So any donations are appreciated, folks. All goes back to the channel, of course. Alright, so that's all my anime section questions. Wait, you say Guy would beat Obito? Guy would beat anyone that's not 6 pass. With 8 gates, he beats anybody. Anybody with the 8 gates, besides 6 pass tier characters. Once you get to like Jubito and Jubidara, that's probably where he would lose. He probably even beats Jubito, based off his performance against Jubidara. He almost killed him. Almost. He's very close. So Jubito probably would die. He beats anybody below that tier. So he's that powerful. So alright. So as you guys ask questions, I'll answer these IRL questions that were asked. Alright. Considering that Goku trained for 3 days to dodge lightning, and then after the fight with Piccolo he trained. Saints that Goku at bases 50 million miles per hour. The speed of light is 670 million. Could Guy win? Well, considering Jubidara did have a light speed attack, he had, I think it was called the light beam or light fang, and Naruto dodged it. It's tough to assess Guy's speed. It's very, very tough to assess. I would lean towards it being possible. I would lean it to being possible for sure, since Jubidara is displayed using light speed attacks. I would say it's a possibility, but it's hard to gauge. It is hard to gauge. It's possible, definitely. I would say the upper echelon characters are definitely light speed or above, like Boruto era characters, and probably even Jubidara. And they would deal with Saiyan Saga Goku. Would you ever do a collab with Naruto? Oh, definitely. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of people I do collabs with. The guys that I respect. Naruto, Explain, Six, Swag, Seth. Those guys definitely. And as I grow, hopefully, eventually that happens. Do you think early Shippuden Naruto loses to some of the powerhouses in Part 1 Chunin exams? Powerhouses as in Gaara? Naruto. I mean, Naruto, if we're excluding his QB amp, then there's a possibility. There's a possibility. With the amp, he beats anybody in the Chunin exams. I mean, he did do that. That's how he beat Gaara. And you could argue that he's even stronger because as time goes on, the seal that his father placed on him, it weakens over time. That's why Orochimaru, during the Chunin exams in the forest, tightened the seal to extend the time of the seal. Right? The weaker the seal, the stronger the host becomes. So I would say he probably would beat anyone in Chunin exams. As far as the Chunin, the Genin that are trying to become Chunin, of course. If we remove that possibility, then maybe Gaara would beat him. I don't know if Neji would beat him anymore. He did improve. We saw his somewhat of an improvement against Kakashi when they did the bell test again. So yeah, I would say more than likely he does beat them though. I don't think he loses to almost probably none of them anymore. So especially if we include the Ninetales amp, which is a substantial amp, allowed him to go toe to toe with Orochimaru if he gets enraged enough, that is. How do you deal with telling your crush how you feel? Honestly, I would say you shouldn't be straightforward with it if you're not 100% sure that the crush likes you back, right? So there's three levels here. One, she doesn't fuck with you at all, right? And you could tell that pretty clearly, pretty early on. A lot of guys lie to themselves, but it's pretty clear if they don't fuck with you. They're lagging on you. Short, dry texts or very short conversations. They don't fuck with you. They're just being nice. Girls are not as straightforward. They're not going to tell you I don't like you unless you tell them you like them. The other level would be they're kind of into you. At that point, you got to be patient and play the field right. Don't be too straightforward. Be subtle. Build the connection, I guess you could say. And then the third level is if they straight up are infatuated with you, then you might as well tell them. It's pretty obvious that they are. So yeah, depends. You got to assess the situation. Go from there. Either way, don't look too desperate no matter what level she's on. Because if you look desperate, girls will take that as weakness, unfortunately. So don't grasp at straws, so to speak. Be patient. Drop Sage Mode Naruto on 5K Summit. Could he solo? Sage Mode Naruto? Well, he was inferior to a damn near blind Sasuke. He admitted it blatantly, so I would say he doesn't solo. I think he would die there. The specific version of Sage Mode that we're talking about, the one that interacted with 5 Kage Summit Sasuke who admitted inferiority? No, he doesn't. If we're talking about War Arc Sage Mode Naruto, there's a possibility. I mean, he's reacting casually to the third Raikage. So maybe that one could. Maybe. I would say the one during that arc, no, it doesn't. He probably dies at the hands of the Raikage or someone. So. All right. Any and all questions are welcome, folks. All right. So this is the first IRL question I was asked. Do you believe in the law of attraction? It's interesting. So this is what I say about the law of attraction. I would say I do believe in it, right? Because simply put, we can simply observe that your chances of success increase objectively the harder you work and the more you believe in your goal, right? Objectively, your rates of success increase. So in a way that's an attraction of success. Like success becomes more and more appeal to you because you work harder and you believe in it. And conversely, the more complacent and lazy you are, the more your chances of success decrease. So that kind of illuminates the idea of law of attraction. You attract what you work for or you believe in, right? However, I'll say this though. It's important to note that our reality is inherently chaotic. So you can't take this law hyper literally and say, oh, if I work hard and I believe it, I'll become a billionaire tomorrow. No, that's irrational. Reality doesn't work that way. There is a law of attraction. There is, but it's not black and white. But this is what I would say objectively. The harder you work, there is going to be an inevitable outcome of improvement. No matter how far you make it, even if you don't reach the mountain peak or whatever goal you have, you will improve from point A to point B. All right, so that's objective. So the law of attraction is definitely, I would say, real. And I would also say empirically, it's pretty easy to observe that. The most hyper-obsessive and hyper-productive individuals on the planet are usually the most successful. Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Tom Brady, Steve Jobs. These guys are hyper-successful and hyper-productive individuals. So success, they attracted success because of their work ethic and their personality. So, all right, Akatsuki ranked by speed scaling. Yes, I know the war arc is weird, but it's still part of the story. Obito, Itachi, Kabuto, Kisame. The fastest during the war arc would be Obito. He has a white mask, right? Second would be Itachi. Third would be Pain. Then it'd probably be Kisame. Sasori. Those are the top guys. Have you ever done Discord debates? Yeah, I've done many. I actually have a playlist if you want to check it out of the debates I have done. I've done IRL and anime both. Have you ever considered it something that could be fun to do as a hobby? Yeah. My battles, at least the public ones, are few and far between because I want to debate someone I respect first of all. If I'm gonna make it public, 2, I want it to be competitive. 3, something I want to debate, not just random shit. So, yeah, I still do debate though. What do you think of the Jogan and Otsutsuki God? The Otsutsuki God is a formula for great storytelling. I think they approach that the right way. I like the introduction to the Otsutsuki God. I like that they're already building the lore and the suspense of what's to come. That was a highlight, and that's the best thing I've seen in about 12 months in any chapter of Boruto, for that matter, since probably Baryon Naruto. That's probably the best chapter since that chapter, since the death of Kurama. This chapter was very good, very telling, very polarizing, even emotionally, right? With Amato's story and him giving his motives. Now we know his motives, unless Shikamaru's theory's right and he's lying, right? Momoshiki and Shikamaru don't really trust him. Maybe he could have just convoluted this fake plot to gain their trust, which is a possibility. But at this point, it's hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell, and only time will tell what's the truth. Either way, the Otsutsuki God revelation is definitely a highlight, right? So I definitely enjoyed that quite a bit. Books or ebooks? I guess it depends on your preference. Me personally, I would say ebook. All right, so unless any donations come in, I'll read the next IRL question. All right, so this is more of a history question. So someone asked, since there's evidence that people from Africa used to trade with the Aztecs, why didn't the Aztecs ever hear about Europeans? All right, so this is what makes sense to me empirically and what I read historians say. They said the reason they never informed them or really wanted to is because they were aware of the Aztecs' landscape resource value, so they didn't want to give that up because the Europeans were a powerhouse. The Aztecs obviously would rather trade with the Europeans than the region of Africa because the Europeans have more to offer back to them, right? So, simply put, Africa wanted to protect their security, right? That's why they never told the Aztecs about the Europeans, and they didn't find out about the Europeans till later on when they invaded. So, that makes sense, though, from what I read. It makes a lot of sense. What if porn did not exist? Simply put, if porn didn't exist, there'd be a lot more confident guys out there. Porn desensitizes you. It makes a lot of men timid. It makes them have erectile dysfunction too. When the guys that do get pussy, they don't look at sex the same because their mind's wired to look at this fantasy, this delusional fantasy that they have, right? Porn is not the real world. It's all for aesthetics. And I would say it's dangerous to some extent for some guys. So I know it's controversial, but what do you think of Kyle Rittenhouse? From what I remember, yeah, that was the guy that protected himself, right? And he showed up with a gun. Someone attacked him. He shot them. Self-defense is self-defense. From what I know, he defended himself from harm. I mean, every individual should have that right. I think it's as simple as that. Obviously, it's easy to twist the narrative and say that he was racist and things of that nature, but from what I saw from the empirical evidence provided, it seemed like simple self-defense. Is he perfect? No. He's not perfect. Why did he show up? Why did he bring a gun? Again, that's his right, though, right? That's his right, and he definitely has a right to defend himself. So, as simple as that. No matter what race it was, that would be the case. It could be blue, green person, whatever color, doesn't matter. It'd still be self-defense. Every color, every individual should have that right. So, simple as that. All right. So speaking of controversy, someone asked me thoughts on the recent Kyrie Irving debacle. All right, so obviously we've seen some cancellations take place with Kyrie. Well, Kyrie's not really canceled, but he's getting backlash. Now Kanye, that guy got canceled. I mean, Adidas dropped him. His banks dropped him. Can't even use his credit card from what I hear, things of that nature. I would say Kyrie and individuals like Kanye most certainly said offensive things, and unfortunately they got to face the backlash for that, right? That's their fault. But I would say they seem to have good intentions. Again, it doesn't excuse their anti-Semitic statements. That's not okay. That's their fault. They're grown men. Oh shit! Shout out to Sean for the 4 months as a member. Appreciate it, brother. That deserves a. Let's see if it plays. There you go. One more, because that one didn't play correctly. That deserves a. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for that. All right. Manga novel Shishui versus Kakuzu, or Six Gate Guys versus Kakuzu. That's an interesting one. Now, from the manga, or specifically the novel, we can argue Shishui's skill is quite high, right? Because he was poisoned, I believe, in the novel. So Danzo felt inferior, which is why he didn't go after him himself. He had to poison him first. That one might have a chance against Kakuzu. If he scales above Danzo, again, it was a Danzo without Hashirama cells or the Sharingans on his arm, but I would say there's a good chance he could be Kakuzu. It's hard to kind of gauge where Shishui would be at. If it's the anime Shishui, he doesn't stand a chance. More than likely does not. Now, Six Gate Guy versus Kakuzu. I would say that's a tough one to assess. Six Gate Guy had a tough time with a 30% chakra clone of Kisame. Now, it's hard to compare Kakuzu and Kisame here, but I would say he'd have a good shot. I would lean towards Guy. I would lean towards him. Then again, it's hard to assess because there's not many feats of Six Gate Guy besides him dealing with the 30% chakra clone of Kisame, who's superior to Kakuzu, clearly. I would probably lean towards Six Gate Guy, I'd say. Most likely. Is Tinder worth getting into if you're a busy person? Alright, so this is what I say about dating apps. You gotta learn how they work. You gotta exploit the algorithm. Now, the most affordable option is to create a new account every 3 months, because every time you create, this is a secret a lot of guys don't know. Every time you create a new Tinder, you're automatically jumped up in the algorithm, so you're more displayed to the masses, to the women, because you're a new profile, right? Tinder wants to incentivize you to stay. So every 3 months, I believe you can create a new Tinder, and become more viewed by women. Obviously, you can go the pay money route and get whatever the shit's called on Tinder. I don't even know. That will get you more, give you more chances of success. I would say don't bank on dating apps for finding a long-term partner. I'd say I would be wary. There's a lot of hoes on there. I know myself. There's a lot of thoughts on there. Thoughts for the streets. All right, so be wary and use the app to your advantage. That's what I'd say. Is it worth getting into? If you use it the right way, yes. If you use it the right way. Have a good profile. Right? Don't have shit pictures or like a shitty selfie. Have decent pictures, good quality photos that insinuates and implies, a guy that takes care of himself, a guy that's not broke, things of that nature. You have to be very strategic. I heard Six today during a stream say that the Renegon is the least useful dojutsu in real life. I really disagree with the Astral Path. Can elongate your body, levitation, king of hell, healing a fight. The most useless in real life? I would say I disagree as well. I would say maybe the Byakugan would be. I mean, it'd give you hands, but the Renegon allows you to do so much. Alright, in comparison to the Byakugan. I'd say probably the Byakugan would be the most useless. Even the Sharingan would be more useful than the Byakugan. Especially if you have MS. So I would disagree too, yeah. I wouldn't say it's the least useful dojutsu either. Alright, continuing on. Make sure to hit the like button, folks, once again. And let me switch soundboards because this soundboard I have now is faulty. Let me use this one instead. Make sure to hit the... Alright, it's still taking its time. So it's not the browser. There you go. Make sure to hit the like button, folks. Alright. Are relationships worth it in 2022, 2023? Well, there are different kinds of relationships, right? As a man, there's recreational use only. If you can make it happen, make it happen. I wouldn't bank on that. If it comes, it comes. As far as long term, you got to be patient, no matter what year we're in. But especially, I would say, in modern day, you have the girl has to pass your tests. They got to check off all the boxes to trust them, especially if you have resources. If you're a provider already, don't make mistakes because it'll ruin your fucking life. A bad woman will ruin a great man, and that's a fact. You see it all the time. So I would say be wary, be patient, and make sure she checks off your boxes first before you do anything. Unless she's recreational use only, then just clap, smash and dash, dine and dash. That's it. So, how strong do you think Orange Mask Obito would be with DMS? Both calmly. I think he would be very powerful. Probably stronger than Itachi, definitively, and Pain, most likely as well. I would say he probably would have. So if we're presupposing he doesn't have Hashirama cells, he would have the same repercussions that Sasuke and Itachi did, right, with the stamina. But if he does have Hashirama cells and shit, he's arguably the strongest shinobi on the planet, on Earth, pre-war arc, of course. Arguably, he already was, even before the war arc. I mean, that guy was fucking powerful, even with just one. So he would probably be the top of the totem pole in the shinobi world into the war arc, of course. So, if the Silent Four survived, I think they would be really relevant, especially if Orochimaru played it right by not going in their body and just waiting like he did at the fight with Itachi. They would have to evolve substantially. I mean, they got fatigued by two mid basic ass Jonin, right? They were fatigued and they had to use their curse mark to deal with two basic ass Jonin. So they're pretty much fodder later on in Shippuden. Unless they do evolve, then they could be useful. If Orochimaru continues his experiments and amplifies the curse marks multiplier or something like that, then maybe they would be useful. But the versions we have would be fodder by Shippuden. The Akatsuki would, even Hidan would fucking body them. I mean, they're weak as fuck. So, but they get stronger, yeah. What would you like your GS profession to be? This is my own lens. Again, this is my own preference. But for me personally, something that doesn't take up a lot of time. And my vision, right? I'm the provider, and she's the nurturer. So, is it okay? Of course, she can work whatever. It wouldn't be necessary. I would want her to do something simple, maybe like a school teacher, something like that. Obviously, there's professions that will remove her from the equation of being, being the main chick, like being a thought in the club, being a stripper, things like that. OnlyFans, they're cut off immediately. They're recreational use only, if that. So something simple, teacher, therapist, something like that. Something simple. That's what I would say. Because if they have a job that is very rigorous and time consuming, then that's gonna hurt your guys' connection, right? She's working 80 hours a week in the office, like shit. Like I'm the guy providing, right? So why are you working 80 hours a week? That's just my preference, though. So to each their own. Motivational tip of the day. What's a good tip? I would say just be persistent. Be persistent in whatever goal you have. And I'm talking every day, not just once in a while, nonchalantly. Be persistent. That's what I would say. All right, folks. Any and all questions are appreciated. Thanks again to Sean. He's a goat for becoming a member or renewing his membership. So that deserves a. Once this loads. That deserves a. And any streams are appreciated. Any donations are appreciated, folks. So. Love your videos. I watch when it's working. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate that a lot. Trying to up the original content as well. Trying to keep up the production of that. Let's see. For my question earlier about Goku's speed growth, how strong do you think if Goku would be in Naruto? Personally, I think he would be high tier, but not the strongest. So if we're presupposing he doesn't have Saiyan DNA, if he's just a shinobi, then obviously, yeah, he wouldn't reach the levels he is now. Obviously, if he had the DNA and potential he had in Dragon Ball, I mean, he'd be the Otsutsuki god himself. I mean, he'd be fucking soloing the whole verse casually. By the time you get to the Buu arc, probably he'd be soloing everybody. So depends on what physiology you presuppose him to have. If he has a shinobi physiology, then yeah, he'd be strong. He has the personality for it. Again, his exact lineage would have to be in question, but yeah, he'd be strong for sure. His personality obviously implies that. What if Kakashi fought at the 30% clone of Kisame during the early part of Shippuden? 1v1, who wins? Oof, that's a good question. That's a good question. I tend to believe... Now, we have to compare 6K Guy and that version of Kakashi specifically. It's tough to assess. It's tough to assess. Now, I could go all the way to the Warwick and reference when Kakashi said he finally passed me up, and that's when he used the 8 gate. So from that, you might be able to extrapolate and deduce, well, Kakashi was always stronger until the 8th gate. But then again, that was a stronger Kakashi as well. I would say he would do well. And I tend to believe he's not as strong as 6K Guy, at least that specific version of Kakashi. He might lose. He might actually lose. Probably. It's hard to gauge where he's at. His stamina would be an issue. So, and it depends on Kisame's intention as well. If he's bloodlusted, then he definitely would lose. If it's Kisame being nonchalant, then maybe he could ward him off at the very least and survive the exchange. That's what my assessment would be of what most likely would happen. Blind Sage Madara versus Jubito. Blind Sage Madara. I don't think anyone touches Jubito until we're talking six past tier characters. Even Madara. I think he's quite inferior. Empirically, I think that holds too. These three are all Kakashi level when they are Edos. Pakura, Tora, and Gari all have KK Genkai. They're all Kakashi level. If they're all if we presuppose they're all Kakashi level, War Kakashi level, then they would do pretty well against the Akatsuki. They would one-on-one they could deal with about 70% of them. Once you get to like Kisame and Pain and all those guys, it'd be a problem though. I think the bottom half of the Akatsuki probably would be defeated by 3 individuals that are War Kakashi level. Do you think Vegeta would be in the spotlight in a future Dragon Ball movie, or will Goku steal the thunder? I really hope they could do that, man. It's about time he gets his time. Like, let him lead the charge. It's always Goku. It's always Goku or Gohan or some shit. Kishimoto should just give Vegeta. We're all waiting for it, and it wouldn't upset the masses at all. If anything, that's what we want. All right, Toriyama should realize that. I know he likes Piccolo a lot. He likes fucking Gohan a lot, and obviously Goku. But give Vegeta his time. He's always second fiddle to Goku, and it's kind of upsetting sometimes. Just let him have his moment. I hope they do give him his time. Maybe they'll make a movie about Ultra Ego or something like that, and he'll get his time to shine. I hope so. Because low-key, I kind of like Vegeta more than Goku. He's more relatable. So. Alright, folks, keep asking questions. Any donations are prioritized. This is just some more IRL questions I have here. So this is another history question. Would Great Britain become a superpower if William the Conqueror never settled and uplifted the Saxons? This is what I would say. From what I read, historians actually think that Harold Godwinson's kingship would have been very successful, even without William's intervention, and that Great Britain would somehow still become a powerhouse. For some reason, historians are under the notion that Godwinson would have been a hell of a king, similar to one of the Henry kings or one of those upper echelon kings. So that's what they think. So it probably still would be a superpower. It might be different, a different superpower, but nonetheless. All right. Any and all questions are welcomed, folks. Let me restart my soundboard. It's weird that it's lagging. Let's see. It has a lagging effect. Alright, continuing on. Alright, so another IRL question why you guys still ask was, what are your thoughts on electrons having consciousness? So, there have been experiments of electrons acting a certain way contingent upon if they sense they are observed or not. What does it say about nature and our life in general? Okay, so I read into it, right, and from peer-reviewed articles, this theory is relatively new. scientists seem to claim that the line between what's considered inanimate and what's considered animated is somewhat blurry, which is interesting to think about. So, due to this, there is a new term for this idea known as panpsychism. So, panpsychicists claim that, well, they presuppose that whenever there is mind, there is matter, and vice versa. So, they're essentially claiming that all matter, to some extent, has consciousness, even if it isn't apparent, like a human being's, right? Which is an interesting thing to think about. So, from what I read, electrons are claimed to have rudimentary minds, as evident by the constant iterations we observe, right? That they observe, such as them phasing in and out of existence and then moving constantly. So they're basically claiming that change isn't by chance, it's by choice. That's what they're saying. Even if it's a rudimentary mind like an electron, they're claiming that even the most apparent inanimate matter, or at least what we perceive as inanimate, has some sort of rudimentary mind, even if it's extremely elementary level and not as high level as a human being's mind, that they're conscious, right? So that's what they're claiming about electrons as well. I think it's a pretty cool theory, and whether you believe it or not, it does illuminate the fact that our reality has structure. There is a pre-established structure. So that goes back to the theory of a god, right, or a sentient being that pre-established everything. I think that's an interesting thing to think about as well. That there's a god or some kind of sentient being that set up these laws, and that it established some sort of arbitrary degree of consciousness in everything, even things that appear inanimate. That's what the theory is basically saying. So I would say it just continues to reinforce the idea of reality being structured and ordered, right? There's hierarchical structures all around us. There's laws of science all around us, or laws that we have discovered, I should say. So it comes back to this idea of divine intervention. Again, that's all theoretical, but I think theories like this just further re-illuminate and reinforce that notion. So, which one do you think would be a good booster, and which one would go to which? Sasuke and Naruto, gravity manipulation and transforming into a planet regeneration. I think the gravity manipulation would probably go to someone like Sasuke, and then the plant regeneration. Oh shit! Stop the show. Got a donation from the goat himself. Appreciate that, brother. As the soundboard takes its time. Appreciate that. That deserves a. I'm gonna put it on the screen, folks. You know how this works. If you donate, you go on the screen. $10 or above goes on the screen. So I gotta do what I gotta do for the goats. Let's see. Give me a second, folks, as I put this on the screen. Let's see here. Save. Get this on the screen. And go here. Give me a second, folks, and I shall answer your guys' questions. Appreciate that, brother, once again. Appreciate it. Let's see. I just had it. There it is. All right. All right. So let's read this question. Showing support. Appreciate that, brother. Real quick, what is your interpretation on what enlightenment embodies? Also, what do you think about outer body experiences and reaching a higher state of consciousness? So what is your interpretation on what enlightenment embodies? So if you mean is in terms of like individuals learning new things as far as becoming enlightened, there's some sort of intangible value to that, right? I mean, the best way to become successful is to become more and more enlightened, to evolve. I think enlightenment coincides with evolution in an intrinsic sense. That's the way I look at enlightenment. Enlightenment implies evolution and improvement. So it's definitely an aspect that most people should try to implement in their own daily lives. Also, what do you think about outer body experiences and reaching a higher state? Honestly, psychedelics, from all the experiences I've heard, I've never done it myself. It seems that you go through some sort of some outer body experience, right? Like doing mushrooms or something like that. again, the idea of consciousness seems to be a rather vague one, even to the best minds, at least from what I've read. I'm not a neuroscientist or anything, but it seems the idea of consciousness and soul is still very mysterious to even the greatest minds. So I think there's a good chance that there is such thing as an out-of-body experience, reaching a higher state of consciousness, or maybe unlocking a part of your brain that's usually not unlocked, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a scientific observation that humans only use a certain percentage of their brain every day, right? So percentage, let's see. How much percent do we use? Let me look it up just to not be incorrect. I think it's around 65%, something like that. Wait, let's see. There is also belief among scientists that neurons make up around 10% of the brain cell. That's a myth. Oh, interesting. So do we use 100? Let's see real quick. All right. You may have heard, okay, so 10% is a myth. Okay, the more you learn. Humans use nearly 100% of their brains. Okay, so maybe there's a part that we don't use that can only be reached in a certain way. So I would say there's definitely things beyond our understanding, and because of that, that would be the reason why we reach these higher states, right? We're just unfamiliar with it. It's all mysterious. I think one of the greatest mysteries to life is how and why do people have this innate destructive aspect to them? That's a good question, and this is what I would say about that. Reality is inherently chaotic. That's where there is law, or there's a perceived established structure of law and order, right? And humans are inherently chaotic as well. There are hierarchical structures, but within all of those parameters, there's chaos, right? That's why crime always exists and why it always will exist. We can minimize it, but you can never vanquish it because the world is inherently chaotic and imperfect. I think the human brain, especially when you're a child, is very fragile, and if you don't raise a child the right way, you can bring out the bad side of them. I think everyone's capable of evil to some extent. They're all capable of evil to some extent, but it's learning how to control the dangerous side, right? Which most humans do, at least in the modern Western world. We're all calm and collected. We don't act out on our evil thoughts because they all come to us, no matter who you are. It's because we're inherently chaotic, right? And it exists in all of us. Even the most noble of people have that side. So, and it's inevitable. So, that just illuminates our imperfection and our limitation. So, can Otsutsuki God beat Ichigo? Shit. Well, I haven't seen all of Bleach yet. The current Ichigo I'm familiar with probably does get beaten. But I don't know how strong Ichigo gets just yet. But I will soon. How far are you in Bleach? I'm about not halfway, about 40% in. Ichigo and company, they are trying to rescue Orihime from the Espada and Aizen. And there's some power scaling revelations that have taken place, right? There's these kind of outcast Espadas that give Ichigo and Chad a hard time, and give the other individuals as well a hard time. But it seems the top Espada are far and away quite superior. Aizen's so superior that he just flexes his spiritual pressure and he's fucking killing people. That's how powerful he is. Even top Espada shit themselves when they're in his presence. So Aizen is at the top of the food chain. The only guy I see that could challenge him right now, as of now, where I currently am in Bleach, would probably be Yamamoto himself. But I'm about 45% of the way through. I was sick for quite some time. So I really didn't watch anything while I was recovering. I was just focused on getting better. But now I need to get back on it. You should stream more. Yeah, I plan all of December to stream once a week at least, maybe more, to get back to it. And bring more original content as well. Byakugo Self Society versus Kakashi Land of Waves. It's hard to scale Bleach characters because it's hard to really scale like their AP, right? Because you can see what they do against each other, but as far as destruction around them, it's very minimal. It's not a point of emphasis for the writers or the anime creators. I've seen hills be destroyed and I've seen buildings get destroyed, but obviously I'm sure that's not the limitations of their power. But from what I've seen, Byakuya and the Soul Society, based off what I know of Byakuya right now versus Kakashi Land of Waves, I think there's a good chance he could beat Kakashi with his speed. Again, that's hard to quantify as well. His speed, but his hacks, his Bankai, it would be problematic. I lean towards Byakuya right now in comparison to Kakashi Land of Waves. Oh yeah, that's right. The Green Power Ranger passed away. R.I.P. to that legend. One of the most famous Power Rangers. He was a GOAT. So, peace. R.I.P. to him for sure. R.I.P. Oh, Kevin Conroy. Oh man, that was disappointing. That was really disappointing. Yeah, he's literally fucking Batman, straight up. He is Batman. So that will never change. That was really disappointing. If you had to choose a career, HVAC, trucking, plumbing, or cybersecurity, well, it depends on the person. What is more appealing to you? What's the money like? Me personally, I'm more of a tech guy, so I'd probably lean towards cybersecurity if it was me. But it depends on your preference, your passion, things like that. Could Aizen figure out the Kira case? Aizen seems very deceptive, but currently there isn't enough for me to safely deduce that he has intelligence the level of someone like Light or L. Maybe that'll change as I watch more of Bleach, but right now, I don't think so. He is very intelligent though. That's undeniable. How do you think the story would change if Kakashi had Byakuya's Bankai? Personally, I think it'd be really OP, and with it, he would have done better against Data or Cox. If he had that Bankai, I mean, yeah, he would beat a lot of fucking people. That's for sure. That hack's ability would be very problematic. And if the Bankai has a similar multiplier to Bleach, I mean, he'd be fucking unstoppable, right? If he gets from using the Bankai, he gets an amp just like Byakuya does. It's a wrap for a lot of people. Alright, folks. Everyone is so nerfed in Boruto that if Lee opened the 8th gate, he wouldn't even be on the Part 1 Sasuke Naruto's level. Yeah, inevitably there's a passing of the torch. You can't avoid it. You can't shy away from it. You can only accept it, right? So, unfortunately, Naruto and Sasuke are nerfed. The priority isn't no longer the old Konoha, right? It's the new Konoha with Boruto, Kawaki, the children of the generation of old. And because of that, we're seeing nerfings. We're probably going to see retcons. We're going to see all kinds of things that we don't want to see, right? So it's unfortunate. It's already happening. I mean, Naruto and Sasuke are useless now. They can't do shit against Ida. Nothing. Or Damon. They're not shit now. It's unfortunate. I would, for me, my preference would be an honorable death. I wouldn't have minded if Naruto and Sasuke died against Ishiki, honestly. An honorable death. They went out fighting. That would be a very, very honorable and noble way to go. Not just them becoming fucking fodder, useless. That's my preference, though. All right, folks. Any donations are appreciated. Once again, thanks to Sean for being a GOAT. Appreciate it, brother. From what I've seen, I just put Boruto in the same corner as DBS and MHA. I mean, yeah. Right now, this chapter set up a very nice trajectory for Boruto. They can continue to build on it. Maybe it'll come back and become something great. Right now, overall, it's mid. I won't lie. But this chapter was definitely a highlight in the last 12 months of what Boruto has had to offer. It was a very good chapter. Very good. Which is rare for Boruto lately. DBS... The last chapter was pretty thrilling with Black Frieza, for sure. Interested in how they're going to make Goku and Vegeta more powerful than True Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. Yeah, that's definitely a question that has yet to be answered, right? Because there's an inevitable increase in power with these guys. They just continuously reach new heights. I don't know what's next after that. They become angels and fucking Goku becomes an angel and Vegeta becomes a god of destruction. Maybe that will be the case. I don't know. But they're reaching heights that are so insane that the writers have to keep one-upping those limits. And I am interested as well to see how they're going to do that. They're reaching insane levels of power. Right? We saw Black Frieza one-shot them. What level is he at? Does he fucking fodderize Beerus? Who knows? Who knows? Does he fodderize Broly? Most likely. Does he fodderize Gohan Beast? I'm not going to speak on that because I'm still making a video for that. Gohan Beast versus Black Frieza. Should be done soon. But that's another interesting one as well. Alright, so other questions that were asked. Another history question. If Genghis Khan ever considered the rest of Asia and Middle East, would Russia even exist? From what I've read, historians think that the discovery of Europe would be greatly delayed as roads were very unsafe previous to Khan's intervention. So Genghis made the roads safer, right, with his conquest. If that were never to take place, then the discovery would take more time due to the dangers, and also the Industrial Revolution would be delayed as well by a century or two, because Genghis Khan set the stage. He was the catalyst for many, many things that took place, right, that would turn into the modern world. So Genghis Khan, despite his horrific conquests and his genocidal tactics, he did do some good. Obviously, still a piece of shit, but he did some good. So, all right. They keep making beer stronger in the manga. Yes, they are. Constant retcons. Constant. We're going to keep seeing that. Alright. Alright, so here's some more IRL questions. If you guys have any questions at all, anime or IRL, feel free to ask. I plan to be here for a while. So as long as questions keep coming, I'll be here, folks. It's been a while. It's been a while. I have to make my return. Despite Frieza's training for 10 years, he's still going to one-shot him, which is stupid. Most likely, let's be honest, yeah. Because it would go against the whole appeal of being a god of destruction. All right. But then again, maybe Toriyama will get some guts and say, you know what, let's make this happen. We'll see. I mean, that Black Frieza thing was a gutsy thing to do. It sets the stage for many things to come. Black Frieza was so confident he let them live. He could have killed them on the spot probably, but he said, you know what, I'm so much stronger than you two. I don't give a fuck if you fuse. Basically, that's what he's implying by letting them live. I don't care if you fuse. I'm ready for you. I'm ready for Broly. I'm ready for all of you. That's basically what he implied with that casual one-shot. So, to telling form. That's all I gotta say. Alright. So someone asked me, favorite album of the year, thought on her loss. Unfortunately, music to me has been kind of lackluster in 2022. It's been kind of disappointing. There hasn't been much music that's caught my attention at all. Her Loss, Drake's new album with 21 Savage, I thought it was good. Was it his best work? No. But it was good. Some new sounds. He displayed his ability to rap, which I think is highly underrated. Right? I think he's actually a very good rapper. In fact, one of the best as of today. He's not the best of all time, but he's up there as far as his ability. Goku is stronger than Beerus in the anime. I wonder what they're gonna do about that. They'll figure it out. Probably a retcon to keep things fun. Because they're gonna have to change that. I'm pretty sure. But there's gonna have to come the time where they do surpass them. I'm assuming. Eventually they're gonna have to. Just like they surpassed Boo, they surpassed Cell eventually. They're gonna have to surpass them eventually. I want to see what they do with Broly now that he's, after his introduction to, Dragon Ball Super. There's a lot of potential with that guy too. A lot of things they could do. I mean, in the new movie, they didn't even want to spar him. He was so fucking dangerous. They're like, fuck that. So, I don't blame them. They would have to fuse to even stand a chance right now, as of now at least. Alright, someone asked... Alright, this is anime actually. What if Luffy was a Naruto? I mean, he'd be another Naruto. All the protagonists in these top animes are similar to some extent. What if Vegeta had the Rinnegan and Sharingan? And what if Goku had Sage Mode? Knowing Vegeta's personality, he would definitely exploit those abilities Probably try to push himself to new heights as well. I feel like he wouldn't be the type to use hacks like absorb. I think him seeing the absorption of, I guess in this case it would be the absorption of ki blast and things of that nature. I think he would avoid that because he's very prideful. He would say, "I don't need to absorb shit. I'm gonna beat you myself." That's the type of fighter Vegeta is, right? He has the same pride. And Goku with Sage Mode, I mean, shit, he'd just be more deadly. He'd definitely be more deadly. So they would definitely be at another level. But again, Vegeta wouldn't really utilize hacks. That's not in his personality. He would avoid them, to be quite honest. He would say, "I don't need hacks. I could beat you myself." So, do you agree with Goku being universal to low multiversal? I would say most definitely in the manga as of now. As of now, he most definitely is universal for sure. I mean, there's almost no doubt about it. He's up there. As far as low multiversal, I'd have to see a little more. But he's definitely universal. He's in that range for sure. For sure. Again, it's unfortunate Toriyama stopped, the numerical value power scaling system he had. I get it though. I read an interview. He said it's because it gives it away. It gives the plot away, right? This guy has a higher power level. He's gonna win. I get it. That's why he stopped with the number system he had. So we can only speculate to some degree. All right, folks. Any and all questions? Cell Max should have been perfect Cell Max. Yeah, well, it was implied in the movie that if he would have had his intelligence, even Broly wouldn't have been able to stop him. Now the question is, how would Gohan Beast would have matched up against him? So I wonder how he would do against him. But if he's stronger than Broly, I mean, clearly he would be a force for sure. It probably would have changed the plot if he was perfect with his intelligence. Alright, folks, any and all questions are appreciated and welcomed. Appreciate the like button, by the way, folks, as well, if you haven't already. Alright. Alright, so the other questions that were pre-established before the stream. Let's see here. So these are more IRL questions. How do you handle eating when dieting? This is discipline. It's pretty simple, It's pretty simple. You gotta be disciplined when you diet. Either that or don't diet. Don't even say you're gonna do it if you're not. What are the questions here? Feel free to keep asking questions, by the way, folks. Any and all questions. Alright, so someone asked, where do you think is the best places to meet girls? I would say in locations that are low pressure, right? So somewhere like a beach, maybe. Somewhere like a library is it's a calm environment, but would it be a bad place? You don't want to do it in places where a girl would be preoccupied, right? Like a club or something like that. In general, you shouldn't go to the club to meet women, because at least not for long term, because they're in a promiscuous environment. So the best places would be places that are low pressure, laid back environments. Makes it easy. If there's another top Universe 7, another Tournament of Power, Universe 7 is easily going to win unless there's extremely strong people in the universes that weren't in it or buff up the other universes. Yeah, they're probably going to have Jiren improve, I'm sure, after his defeat to Goku. They're going to have a lot of people improve for sure. That's definitely very, very, very likely. Universe 7 has Gohan Beast, Black Frieza, Goku, Vegeta. Yep. Piccolo, Dorado, Orange Piccolo. Jiren and his team would have to increase substantially in power level for sure. Did Obito have 6-pass chakra before he implanted the Renegon? No. Yeah, no, he didn't. He'd probably be on a whole different tier entirely if he did. Even more powerful than he was. Alright, folks. Here's some more IRL questions while you guys keep asking. Do you believe in witchcraft spells and other third eye stuff? I don't think it's as dramatic as people point out to be. Maybe there is supernatural activities, but I don't think they're as extreme as people believe, like in horror movies or anything like that. Alright. I think that's all my pre-live stream questions, folks. So as long as you guys keep asking questions, I shall continue. I think that's all the questions that were asked before the live stream. So any and all questions, folks, are welcomed. Naruto could use a 7th or 6th gate with his 6 past powers or Baron mode. He would be able to just stomp everyone. Yeah, I mean, even with Baron mode, he'd stomp everyone. If he had the gates on top of what he has, I mean, he'd just whip Ishiki even worse. Might even one-shot Ishiki, to be honest, with that multiplier. Considering how powerful he already was with Baron mode. Kisame versus the 4th Raikage. Well, Kisame thoroughly handled Killer Bee, who's relative to the 4th Raikage. So Kisame at his best against the 4th Raikage one-on-one. If under the right parameters, he could beat him. If it's, in a landscape where it's toe-to-toe, a landscape where Raikage can utilize his speed, that would be his greatest advantage. If Kisame can successfully execute and use the water dome, then there's a chance it'd be faster than the 4th, right, underwater. So I lean towards Kisame overall. I think in most scenarios, he'd have the advantage. Samahata probably eats the lightning cloak, the chakra of the lightning cloak more than likely, and it would be a trouble for the 4th Raikage for sure. Especially considering Kisame's durability and things of that nature. He would last a long time. He can take some shots. So 6 past powers look like nothing now in Boruto. Oh yeah, absolutely. They're useless now. Useless. Alright, folks. We shall continue with any questions you may have. And again, I do plan on streaming heavily this month, December. This month of December, I have Gohan Beast versus Black Frieza in the works. Hopefully by this coming week it's done. I got sick, so that hampered production, but I'm back now. So, could the Gentle Fist disable the gates since the gates are a point of where chakra flows from? I would say so. I would say it would. If you're able to successfully tag someone that's using the gates, that is, of course. I think so. I would hamper the ability to use the gates. Alright, folks. Any and all questions are welcomed. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones I missed here. Yeah, I believe that is all the pre-lived ones. In other news, I did see Seth make his return yesterday. It's been a while since Seth has been around, and he posted a video, I believe, as well. So it's good to see Seth back. He was gone for quite some time. The guy also said you need 6 pass chakra to use Izanagi. You need 6 pass chakra to also use Izanagi. Yeah, that's definitely not correct. That can be debunked quite easily. You just mention individuals that don't have that using Izanagi, and that's it. God of War Ragnarok. Oh, that game was very good. It was very well done. I would say this might have even been better than the last one that came out. It was very good. The narrative was beautifully told. I liked the dynamic between Kratos and his son, Atreus. It was pretty cool, honestly. I fucked with the Thor fight, you know, the Odin fight at the end. It's very well done. Are you going to be doing any more CBR articles? They're hilarious. Oh, yeah. I need to find some that are worth exploring, you know. It's definitely an adventure when I'm exploring these articles sometimes. That's how comical they are sometimes, for sure. Naruto was holding back a lot when him and Sasuke had their final fight because Naruto only used 2 versions of his Rasen Shuriken. We could use 1. I wouldn't say he was holding back a lot, but he was holding back. That is a fact. He was holding back. Which is why Naruto was superior to Sasuke. Even when holding back, he still beat him. So he does scale over Sasuke. Even if they're arbitrarily relative to some degree, he's still superior. So he was holding back. Sasuke had killer intent. Simple as that. He used 10 of them when he was fighting Kaguya. Yeah, they were going all out against Kaguya. And even then, they were struggling. Any and all questions are welcome, folks. Anime, controversial, IRL, political. We've gone pretty controversial in some streams, so. Naruto not having his true seeking orbs in Boruto made no sense. Yeah, that's something that they could have touched up on that they should have touched up on in Boruto. They should have at least explained why, you know, but we can only speculate. What's your favorite anime ever? I lean towards. That's a tough one. Maybe Death Note. Narratively, probably Death Note. It was just a very polarizing story from beginning to end. The best cat and mouse game I've ever seen. Aesthetically, maybe Dragon Ball. The entire of it, all of it, including Z and Super. Those 2 are up there. Death Note and Dragon Ball. Of course, Naruto's up there as well. Naruto has a lot of pluses as well. Attack on Titan was really, really good. Narratively, it might be almost as good as Death Note. Bleach so far is pretty good. I need to finish it in its entirety to get my placing of that. And eventually, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece. I know One Piece is extremely long. That's going to be a task for sure. But I am pretty excited for the new chapter of Dragon Ball Super. That's going to be a revelation. We'll see what happens with that. What are they going to do with Black Frieza? Where are they going to go from there? I'm very curious. But the new chapter's still not out. It's been months. They took a long hiatus this time. Probably because that was such a big event that they had to. So that's one of the biggest revelations since, who knows, been a long time since we've seen something that big take place in Dragon Ball. If Kage was mortal, could Naruto and Sasuke kill her or lose the fight, even with Kakashi's both Mangekyo Sharingan? If Kage was mortal, Kakashi might have killed her with the dual Mangekyo Sharingan. He might have been able to if he blitzed her, similar to how he did in the original. There's a good chance they would kill her all together in conjunction. Yeah. Naruto, after losing the Nine's Tail, it made no sense that he lost 6 past power. It was linked to Kurama or something else. Yeah, I think Seth gave a theory on that. He says that the Nine Tails was the link to it or something of that nature. I forgot what his theory was exactly on that. Could a boy release Russian Shuriken and one-shot double Rinnegan Madara? It's a possibility if it's full, Naruto in his prime. If we're talking about Baryon Mode Naruto, I mean, he doesn't even need a Rasen Shuriken. He for sure would solo him with that. Adult Naruto, I think with a good Rasen Shuriken, yeah, it's a possibility. What if Naruto had Kratos' rage boost and weapons? And what if Sasuke had Zeus's power? Zeus's power? Shit. I mean, they'd be gods amongst. They already were anyway in Boruto era. They'd be even more powerful. They might even take out these Otsutsuki with relative ease. Because Kratos gets a considerable boost with rage. Considerable. It's definitely exponential. Easy. So Naruto would get a Baryon Mode type amp, or maybe even greater than that. And Sasuke would be a god as well. He should have kept 6 past Sage Mode and Sasuke's Rinnegan. Yeah, we all wish that, that's for sure. With us being all appealed to Naruto and Sasuke, right? They're the guys that we grew up seeing. I honestly rather them have died off, to be quite honest. It's more noble. I don't want them seeing become useless fodder in the background, To me, that's disrespectful to them, in my opinion. Naruto in the last was really strong in just KCM. I guess Toneri, yeah, he was. He jumped leaps and bounds from Shippuden to Boruto, that's for sure. He got very powerful. Kratos versus Saitama. Saitama, he doesn't scale even near Kratos. Kratos is like multiversal. He's done. There's feats where he shakes whatever it's called, the divine tree or something that holds the 9 realms or some shit like that, and he fucking folds Saitama. As of now, unless Saitama has a universal feat or multiversal feat that I'm not aware of. Have you seen Demon Slayer? If not, the content of the question is, what if Naruto had Kirito's power, regeneration, posthumous blood he can control, and the initial boost in powers ×4. With regeneration, a multiplier ×4. I mean, he would just deal with the antagonist even easier if he has regeneration and he has power. So essentially, it would add on top of his already high durability in his prime, right? So let's say he's in his prime, he has Kurama, and he has actual immediate regeneration. I mean, he's damn near unstoppable. He'd be damn near unstoppable. Plus that multiplier, I mean, he'd be unstoppable. He'd probably solo Momoshiki. Fuse Momoshiki would be fodder to him. Ishiki'd probably fodder to him. I mean, with Baryon Mode especially, and then the multiplier, I mean, yeah, he stops all the Otsutsuki. Goku beating Saitama in base form is not dumb. Everything you can do, Super Saiyan God, we can do that in base. Yeah, what some people don't realize about Dragon Ball is that as time goes on, not only do they obviously awaken new forms, but they get stronger in base as well, right? So their base forms themselves increase in power as well. A lot of people don't realize that. Clearly, Goku now in base is much stronger to some gargantuan degree in comparison to Super Saiyan, to Saiyan Saga base Goku. Clearly, it's night and day, right? So Goku now probably shit stomps Super Saiyan 3 Goku in base, the same Goku that fought Buu. I mean, it's pretty clear that he's jumped leaps and bounds. He doesn't stay stagnant, right? His power level and base does not stay stagnant. It increases as he gets stronger. His base gets stronger as well. Yeah, there just isn't enough for Saitama empirically. That's the problem. There isn't enough empirically for Saitama to suggest he's anywhere near universal, and definitely not multiversal or anything of that nature. Maybe in the future the writers will make him destroy a universe, sneeze on a universe or something, but right now it's just not the case. Thoughts on the new Boruto chapter? All right, for you guys that came in, I'll give my thoughts again. Make sure to hit the like button. So, I thought this chapter was the best chapter in the last 12 months, since probably Baramo Naruto chapter when Goroma died. This was a very good chapter, a very telling chapter. The revelation of the Otsutsuki god kind of confirmed the many theories I've seen within the fandom, right? The idea that there's a god around somewhere out there that was an Otsutsuki god above even that, the likes of Ishiki, right? So we saw that, and we were revealed that it's true. And we learned that the cyborg's powers originate from the god himself, and that Shinjutsu is the father of all jutsu, and that ninjutsu is a poor man's version of Shinjutsu. Shinjutsu doesn't even require hand seals. The AP and effect of these jutsu are so much superior to ninjutsu. So we learned that the Otsutsuki god is the epitome of what it means to be a god, right? The domain of gods, and the Otsutsuki god, I think his name is Shinbai or something like that, is a literal god. So we learned that. We learned Amato's motives. Amato, finally we got some revelation of what his motives really are. To me, he was always a very mysterious character, which was a good thing, and I think they approached it the right way. So, and I like that they established doubt for us, right? With Momoshiki saying he's probably lying, he's bullshitting, he's making this story up so he gains our trust, and Shikamaru is reluctant to trust him as well. It's very telling. And they set up a very good path here, a very good trajectory for the future of the storyline. So I was very satisfied with that chapter. And it's one of the only highlights I've seen this year of Boruto, to be honest. It's very interesting. The humans are galaxy to star level, and they're destroying Super Saiyan Goku and Namek. Yeah, that's true. Have you seen One Punch Man? If not, the question I have is, what do you think would happen in Naruto when Sasuke had Garo's adaptation? Yeah, I haven't seen One Punch Man. I only know the big events, to be quite honest. You think Sasuke's gonna die in Naruto? I'm not gonna lie, at this point I hope they do. They deserve a noble and honorable death. I want to see them. They should have died when Ishiki was around. Honestly, that would have been a good place to end it for them. They beat Ishiki, they go down fighting, and they save the day. That would have been a very noble death. Now I don't know how they're going to do it. I hope they die in a noble way at least. Go out nobly, not just as fodder that are useless. It'd be disrespectful to them. So I think they are going to die eventually. And if they don't die physically, they're going to die symbolically by becoming fodder. So, and that's going to be worst case scenario. More people are going to stop reading manga. They're going to stop reading Boruto if that happens. So, the Otsutsuki god could possibly be a Xeno tier being. From what I can extrapolate, obviously you can't prove it. I don't get that notion that he's going to be like someone that can wipe away the universe in the blink of an eye, but they did it. They introduced him very well. I'll say that. What do you think the announcement will be for Naruto in December? If they reanimate it, that'd be spectacular. That'd be spectacular. With the new methods of animation, that'd be awesome to see it reanimated and improved. I hope that's what it is. Or maybe, a spin-off, or maybe we see Naruto's ventures before being Hokage, between the time in between Shippuden and Boruto. We see something there, something like that would be pretty sick. I think Kawaki's gonna kill Sasuke. There's a good chance based off the time skip, based off the things that we see in the time skip. He might be the one that kills both of them. So most likely gonna be a Boruto one or a game. It's possible as well. Yeah, it's possible as well. They want to make Boruto great. They're gonna have to tread lightly and just make the right story, the right decisions, writing wise. That's what they're gonna have to do. They made a very good decision with this chapter, doing what they did. Stormfire would be cool. Yeah, it's a lot of time. It's been a few years. been a few years since we've had a new game. Even a Bleach Storm game would be cool. Make a game kind of like Storm, but for Bleach. That'd be nice as well. Alright, folks, any and all questions are appreciated, and any donations are appreciated as well. $10 and up go on the screen, as you can see here. Nerfing everyone so Boruto looks strong is funny. I agree. It's inevitable. It's disappointing. But, you know, it is what it is. A Bleach game would be crazy. Absolutely it would. It's about time they make one. How strong do you think Naruto would be if Jiraiya actually trained him instead of being a perv? I still think he would be pretty weak at the beginning, mainly physically, but he would gain sage abilities. I think either way, Jiraiya would have sent him to the Toad, you know, to Mount Muyuboku, or whatever it's called exactly. He would have sent him there because he's a perfect sage. Jiraiya never reached that level. But if Jiraiya was more on his ass, he probably would develop quicker. He would develop quicker for sure. Let's see, how strong do you think Edo Jiraiya would be? Disappointed they didn't bring him back. He wouldn't really be a problem to Naruto. KCM Naruto would handle him very easily. He might give a division a problem, but Naruto would be no issue. So for Naruto, it wouldn't. They need to bring back Kashin Koji. I liked him. Yeah, he was very cool. Very cool character. I liked his fight with, obviously he was fodder to Jigen, but I liked his effort. I liked his demeanor. I wouldn't mind seeing him. Maybe in perfect sage mode with Shadow Clone training he would be. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things that would have been cool to see. Like Rock Lee having more development. Itachi, you know, not dying. But, you know, we got what we got, so. Edo Danzo is interesting because of all his eyes and hacks. Right. That would maybe be problematic. I get where people get that Jiraiya equals Orochimaru, but I don't see it at the same time. Orochimaru is shown at multiple points to be stronger. I think Orochimaru is stronger. There's a couple of things empirically that you could suggest. You could say that they're relative, but you could just simply say Orochimaru is still superior. Orochimaru had more success against three-tailed Naruto. A stronger three-tailed Naruto, because if a lot of people don't realize, as time goes on, the seal that Naruto has, that his dad set up, weakens over time. So Jiraiya almost died at the hands of the Three Tails. A sick Orochimaru competed with the Three Tails for quite some time, right? And he wasn't ever threatened by him. He even said, "You're out of Sasuke's league, buddy," even right now, enraged. So Orochimaru is definitely above Jiraiya to some extent. He might not be, you know, far and away superior, but he is superior to some arbitrary degree. I think empirically it's shown as well. So let's see. Bass Boss or Sony, favorite over the ear headphones. I mean, I use Beats mostly, for the most part. But between those, I feel like Bose, they're more careful with their design than Sony. Sony has a wide variety of products, and I don't think headphones is their main commodity. You know, really want to see you react to Obito versus Vader. I want to see if we can pick out 6 flaws. And you're not a simple yes man. Yeah, I mean, when I see Six's videos, I try to play devil's advocate a lot. Six has very good logic and scaling, but you know, whenever I see something I don't agree with, yeah, I point it out. Like the last one with Gaara versus Neji, you know, there was a couple things I disagreed with. There's a couple things in the past, but yeah, I definitely gotta check out that one. That was interesting. Sarade is most likely gonna get her MS from Sasuke dying. That's the most probable. If Orochimaru can't use Edo Tensei, he's losing. You mean against Jiraiya? If he uses the Hydra Snakes, I don't know if he loses, which is his strongest ability, according to the data books. I mean, he was confident enough to try and blitz Itachi with his Susanoo out. That's how confident he was. The only reason he couldn't is because Itachi had the Yadomir and the Tosca Blade. So, if he's confident enough to take on someone that he admits inferiority to, I think he would definitely use. He would have some pretty good success against Jiraiya. Orochimaru didn't have regen. He died with Naruto's first attack. What you on? Adult Sakura beating Ten Tails Madara is dumb. Ten Tails Madara? People say because she got a hit on Kaguya Ten Tails. Madara could do that easily with 6 past stage mode in his eye. Unfortunately, empirically, Sakura scales above. Definitely EMS Madara. Ten Tails Madara, that is more contentious, right? Because she did get fucked up by a Ten Tails Madara. But unfortunately, you know, the empirical evidence presented, it just suggests that she scales very high, very high. I mean, she was able to deflect attacks from Kaguya, not deflect, excuse me, outrun attacks from Kaguya, and also damage Kaguya just to some degree. And she did tank an attack from Jubidara. It went through her, but she recovered and was able to react and damage Kaguya, who's stronger than Ten Tails Madara. And I don't like Sakura. I don't like her at all, but I have to give credit where credit's due. Charters and Naruto that I think that didn't get enough time moments. Hiruzen. Yeah. Hiruzen was a failure of a Hokage. All Akatsuki except for Obito and Pain. Yeah. Neji, Rock Lee definitely. Jiraiya, I think he got quite a bit of development. Asuma, never really cared for him, but I guess that'd be cool. Shikamaru, he kind of got some. And Choji. Okay. He had both of Naruto's and Sasuke's 6 pass abilities. Sakura would struggle against EMS high diff. The truth is, because of her speed feat against Kaguya, you could argue that she is so superior in speed. Right? Because keep this in mind, Kaguya is stronger than Jubidara, as stated by Sasuke, who saying that, you know, her chakra or whatever is far greater. He said far greater than Madara, right? And that's Jubidara, who's far greater than any version of Madara. So transitively, you would say, well, Kaguya is just far and away superior to EMS Madara. So if we're talking about EMS Madara, if adult Sakura is able to react to her in any way, that implies a blatant superiority speed-wise. So what would happen is she'd be so much faster than EMS Madara that he wouldn't even be able to react in time. His literal synapses wouldn't fire in time, and Sakura would punch him and probably destroy him. So, and that's the unfortunate reality based off the empirical evidence. I don't like Sakura, and I was playing Contrarian when I first heard about adult Sakura versus Madara. I didn't want to believe it, but there's nothing that can be said. Now, Ten Tails Madara might be different. That might be different. So, what's going on, Neo? Thanks for coming in. And folks, make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. And your donations are appreciated. Let's see if the soundboard's working now. Still lagging. I apologize for that, folks. For some reason the soundboard's been... Alright, so make sure to hit the like button. Alright, was Kaguya even paying attention? Well, if you look at the manga, there was a exclamation point above her head indicating that she was reacting or becoming aware of something. So I think she was. If anything, let's look at it right now, just to be extra clear. Let's see. Go to Viz Media real quick. Let's see here. What chapter was Kaguya defeated? Okay. 681. Let's see real quick. She gets punched at the very end, right before she gets sealed by Naruto. And, right after that, she gets sealed by Naruto and Sasuke. So let's see here. 681. I believe there was an exclamation point on her head when she gets punched by Sakura. Let's see here. Alright, so it's not this chapter. She's not defeated here yet. Okay. Let's find it. Not here either. Still a couple chapters left. Give me a second, folks. I need to find the chapter real quick where she's defeated. Okay, I need to skip a few chapters here. So this was this before or after? Okay, never mind. Give me a second as I find it. I have to know for sure what happened now. It's gonna bother me if I don't. Let's see. Alright, so here's when she gets punched. Alright, so I gotta go back to the other chapter real quick. 689. So this is the part she's about to get punched. Alright. Alright, so there is an exclamation point. Sakura says, "Don't forget about me, we're both women." And that's when the exclamation point shows. She gets punched in the back of the head. To be fair, she was having to deal with Naruto and Sasuke simultaneously. But then again, if she was superior in speed, she would have reacted to it. So there's that as well. I hate Sakura though, so well, I don't hate her, I highly dislike her. So alright. How OP would Kisame be if he had the Blades of Chaos? Shit. I mean, if those are Blades of Gods, he's fodderizing everybody. I mean, now if they don't give you an amp and power, then it would simply just be a weapon, right? So depends on what you presuppose. If you presuppose it gives him the amp of a god, I mean, he's beating everybody. Maybe even 6 past tier characters. But if it's just simply weapons that he utilizes, then he wouldn't have much more success than he already did. Do you think Jubito beats Prime Alive, Madara, and Hashirama? Yes, he beats them both. Can most like, well, to be specific, a stable Jubito. If he's fluctuating the way he did, right, where he gets tagged by Tobirama, then maybe not. But if he's stable and he's the same Jubito that blitzed all the Hokage, then yeah, he fucking fodderizes Madara and Hashirama. Alright. The point that I mean with members of the Akatsuki, except for Pain Obito, not written well, not enough time, is that all except data were not pushed to their limits or character. Okay, I see what you're saying. If Frieza fused with Goku Vegeta, it would be broken, but in character, this would never happen. Yeah, it never would. Of course not. Still can't believe Seth was gone for months and then came back with the Goku versus SpongeBob. Yeah, I know. I need to check that shit out. SpongeBob has feats where he's beyond, he like transcends reality. Didn't he like casually destroy, like erase the universe, pulling its strings or some shit like that? It's crazy. Jiren maybe getting ultra energy is scary. Yep. We're both women. Sakura's not one though. Sasuke divorced Sakura apparently. Good. About time. Baramo Minato with Flying Thunder gotta be OP. I mean, he'd fucking, yeah. Jubito would have been eliminated at that point. If it was during the war arc. Alright, folks. About 10 more minutes unless questions fly in. Or someone donates a good amount. Then I shall stay longer. Any and all questions. Anime, IRL, controversial, political, conspiracy, whatever the case. You started reading Jujutsu Kaisen? Not yet. I gotta finish Bleach. I gotta finish Bleach first. I'm the type to I have to stick to one. You know, I'm not really the type to multitask when it comes to anime. That way I can absorb what I need to, become knowledgeable on them. So. What is some vid you'd want Seth to do? Eventually, let's see, a long Vegeta video. That would be sick. Or, I mean, Naruto versus Ichigo would have been something, but obviously, I know that went to shit for some reason. That's crazy. What is the chance of Naruto and Sasuke dying in Boruto? physically. So they're going to be fodder eventually, whether they're dead or symbolically. Physically, I would say it's pretty high, 70%, 80%. I would say so. They can create a magical fire that cannot be extinguished. That's true. Have a large range of attack. Yep. Sharp enough to pierce the flesh of gods. Yep. If we presuppose all those things, he's fodderizing. Even Otsutsuki. How much bodies is too much? As far as for women, it varies from guy to guy. I would say universally, it seems if a guy hears a number greater than like 15, they start to squint. They start to raise their eyebrow a little. You know. For some guys, they can tolerate 20 plus. But from what I've heard, most guys say 15 is like, damn, like more than 15. That's something. Gotta go. Have a good night. Appreciate it, Death, for coming in. When is your next stream? It's going to be next Saturday. This month, I plan on streaming at least every Saturday, maybe even more than that. Because I'll be done with my obligations school-wise. I'll have more time in my hands. I got to up the production, so to speak. After 6, they can't pay or bound. I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, the ideal would be to have no bodies. You know, that's the ideal for guys, or it should be. But, you know, there's a lot of thoughts in these streets, and most of them have bodies. You know, it's simple as 1, 2, 3 for a girl to get dick these days. Go to Instagram. It's even a fat chick gets dick. You know, that's the world we live in. That's the dating marketplace now. Below average chicks that are mid get dick like nothing. They get what they want like that because there's simps everywhere, desperate simps all over the world, and definitely in the West. So it's easy for them to get what they want. You can say they're above multiversal. What do you think will happen first? You think we'll discover what's at the bottom of the ocean or colonize Mars? Bottom of the ocean, because one, it's within our own world, so it's definitely, I would say, an easier. Neither one of these tasks are easy to achieve, right? But Mars, right, it's going to be very tough to colonize Mars because, first of all, it takes forever to even get there with a rover, right? So we'd have to figure out how can we make Mars sustainable, right? How can we make a sustainable ecosystem for human living? 2, how can we build some sort of craft that gets us there in less time? That's going to be very difficult as well. There are many, many prerequisites that have to be met for Mars. For the ocean, we simply have to create a craft or a machine that can sustain the pressure. Once that's done, we can go to the bottom of the ocean relatively quickly. Obviously, that's not an easy task at all, right? That's why most of the ocean is undiscovered. But I think discovering the bottom of the ocean was going to happen first. I would say where 6 messed up. Vader versus Obito. Was he messed up? Vader's power scanned by Allah, and I'm not talking about Vader in Legends. Yeah, Vader in Legends is fucking broken. Hope I won't say more as we pick up on it. Yeah, I definitely gotta check it out. If Gohan always trained, he would be 1 Whis level, I think. I don't know about Whis level, but he would be the strongest Z fighter, besides Broly. Oh, he might be stronger than Broly for now, until Broly starts training, because he has more potential than him. So, because of his hybrid potential. Yeah, but Broly is an outlier. He is the legendary Super Saiyan, so his potential is above that, the likes of we've never seen before. So, alright, folks, about 5 minutes unless someone donates a good amount. Appreciate all the donations, and think about. Oh, by the way, for you folks that barely came in here, make sure to follow me on Twitch. That's where I do the live manga reactions. Join the debates Discord if you haven't already. And think about becoming a member of the channel. I do members only videos that, you know, where I talk about debating or stuff like that. If you're interested in that, and you get access to a private Discord as well. That only. Oh shit! Shout out to the GOAT, Phantom Redbeard. Appreciate it, brother. Let's see if this works. Okay, it's gotta work because you're a GOAT, and I have to play this. Give it a second. There it is. Appreciate you, brother. All right, let me go ahead and put it on the screen. You know, the GOAT's got to be recognized on here. GOAT status has to be acknowledged. And I should read your question after. Let's see. Go here. Give me a second, folks. Alright, now I gotta put a screen. Alright. Appreciate it once again, brother. Appreciate the donation. It's greatly appreciated. Alright, found it. Let me make that much bigger. That's super small. Alright, so MS Sasuke versus the third Hokage, who do you think would win? Well, the specific version of MS Sasuke matters, of course. So if we're talking about 5 Kage Summit Sasuke, at his peak, when his chakra is the most dark and he's the most malevolent, there's a good chance he would win. Well, we have to take into account how Sage Mode Naruto in the war did against the third Hokage. I would argue he was stronger than the pain arc Sage Mode Naruto, right? Because he continuously improves as time goes on, and there's a lot of other reasons I could point out why he's stronger, such as the chemistry with Kurama and things of that nature. Everything's working more optimally within him, within his chakra network, things of that nature. 5 Kage Summit Sasuke was able to react to the 4th Hokage. They would have stalemated, and that's with the Hokage having help, and that's after Sasuke having to deal with the Iron Warriors, right, and the Land of Iron, or whatever it's called, with Mifune's task force. And so if he's by himself, right, and he's dealing with someone that's you could prove is slower than the 4th, right, you can simply say the 3rd Hokage stalemated the 8 tails, and Jinchurikis are stated to be stronger than the tail beasts themselves, and Killer Bees relative to the 4th Hokage, and it's implied the 4th Hokage is superior to Killer Bee to some arbitrary degree. Hence, the 4th Hokage is more than likely faster than the 3rd Hokage. Hence, MS Sasuke's the 5 Kage Summit is faster than the 3rd Hokage as well, because he was able to react to the 4th Hokage. Hence, he'd be faster than the 3rd and would probably take out the 3rd eventually, due to the speed. So all those pieces you extrapolate, and then you assess them, and you can simply say MS Sasuke is relative to the 4th as far as speed. The 4th is relative to Killer Bee with speed. The 8 tails is inferior to Killer Bee, and the Hokage is relative to the 8 tails. So more than likely, that version of MS Sasuke beats the 3rd Hokage, for sure. So if we're talking about Taka Sasuke, the one that got his ass whooped by fucking Killer Bee, he'll lose to. There's a good chance he might lose to the 3rd Hokage. He's not at the level he is during the 5 Kage Summit. So Sage Mode Naruto beats MS Sasuke. Well, it depends which one you're talking about, because Naruto admits inferiority to Sasuke, and that was a blind Sasuke who could barely see. If we're talking about War Arc Sage Mode Naruto, he probably does. It depends which one we're talking about, because he literally admits inferiority. I mean, it's simple as that. He says, "I can't beat you without the QB." He literally says that. Alright. Hokage 100%. It wouldn't be. I don't think so. If it's the 4th, maybe it's a different story. The 3rd, he just scales below, blatantly. Jinchurikis are significantly stronger than the tailed beasts themselves. So. Alright, folks, I shall return. I'm becoming Seth now, and I have to piss during the streams, so I shall return. Give me 1 second. have returned. There we go. Alright, folks. MS Sasuke was slower than the right Kage. He was relative enough. And the fourth Kage is significantly faster than the third based on what's implied of their scaling. Because we're talking about the third Kage, not the fourth. Fourth is definitely faster than the third. The third can stalemated the Eight Tails, who's inferior to Killer Bee, who's relative to the fourth. Hopping off. Thanks for making it. Appreciate it for coming in, Levi. Appreciate it, brother. Alright, folks. Any and all questions are welcomed. Thanks for all the donations, by the way, folks. You guys are goats. Make sure to hit the like button, by the way, folks, if you haven't already. I'll be streaming all this month for sure to make up for my lost time. Stay about 5 more minutes, folks, if you have any questions. See you next stream. Appreciate you coming in, Kronos. Appreciate it, brother. Let's see. Any and all questions, folks, are welcomed. See if there's any questions that were asked here while I was. Let's see. What MS power do you wish you had? I would say maybe Kamui. Kamui would be pretty cool. I could just dip when I feel like it, you know. Go chill in the Kamui dimension for a bit while I recharge. Not to talk to anyone. That'd be a pretty cool ability. Is it going as strong as Black Frieza in his new Blanco form? You got to save that for the video that I'm posting soon. I'll answer that question there. See if you're. Naruto could have become the 6th Hokage in the Pain Arc because he saved the village and got everyone's respect, but it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, there was more evolution for him to make before becoming a Hokage, for sure. It wouldn't have made sense, for sure. By the way, shout out to Elon Musk, man, for buying Twitter. Big move, man. Big move indeed. Freedom of speech has returned, at least there. That's a W, for sure. That's a W. Third Kage has better AP than the fourth, too. It's kind of hard to prove. I mean, he spars with Killer Bee all the time, and Killer Bee's superior to the Eight Tails. So. It's possible that even his AP is inferior. Alright, folks. A few more minutes. If any questions you have, feel free to ask them. Any and all questions. But going back to the Elon Musk thing, hopefully, this whole freedom of speech recovery continues. Twitter was a cesspool. Well, not that that is no longer one, but there's heavy censorship on Twitter. And that was unfortunate. But Elon Musk buying it undid it. And I think platforms that allow public discourse, no matter the agenda you have, is important. So that's a healthy humanity. That's a healthy humankind, healthy human system. So. It's not really an anti-feat for third, though. He was able to handle it. An arguable stronger Naruto who thought he was equal and compared to narratively to Sasuke. Yeah, he was able to deal with the Russian Shuriken, but I would say the AP of a tailed beast bomb. I mean, you have to quantify that. The speed, that's almost definitive that it's below that of the fourth. That's for sure. Alright, folks, I think that'll do. Unless there's any more questions. This was a W stream. Appreciate you guys for the questions, the donations, for the members that are members of the channel. Appreciate you guys as well. I do have an original video coming soon. Production slowed down because of me getting sick, but I am back now. So that will be finished very soon. So I'll be streaming all month for sure. At least once a week, maybe even more. If I get some co-hosts on, maybe we could do live debates for you guys. And yeah, more things to come, folks. So appreciate you all the support. I'm back now, and I'll see you soon, folks. So happy holidays, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.